The greatest Rocket League innovation since the free-to-play era has just begun, and despite what you might be thinking, Rocket League Sideswipe might just be it. How is that possible? How could a game be created in 2D for mobile devices be exactly what the Rocket League community was missing after building a brand new community with its own esports world with over $70,000 championship prize pool? But even after all of that, we still managed to miss it. Well, to understand how this all happened, we have to take you back to how it all began. It's 2019. Rocket League has been out for 4 years with a die-hard competitive scene. Whether you played Rocket League or not, pretty much all of your friends could have told you about some of the most iconic moments in the esports history. Although the game was becoming a staple in the esports world, the casual community was lacking in forms of new content to keep them playing. This is where Epic Games comes in, saving Rocket League, announcing one of the biggest changes in Rocket League history. September 23rd, 2020, the game will be going free to play. This is still arguably one of the greatest changes they have ever made to the game, showing that Rocket League could adapt to the new free to play era. And just as they planned, it worked. The player count as well as the viewership for the game was skyrocketed through the roof, leaving the community with high expectations for what is to come in the near future. Little did we know, Epic Games had little to no plans for Rocket League, unless we're including the Llama-Rama, but come on, are we really counting that as new content? In the next year, this would cause the player base to drop all the way down to as if free-to-play never happened. Let's fast forward a year. It's 2021 and Rocket League releases the alpha trailer for their next big project, Rocket League Sideswipe. For the first time, jump into a Rocket League game and play at the palm of your hand in an all-new immersive experience. On top of that, they added the feature to connect your controller to your phone to create that competitive aspect to the game that we all know and love. This created a controversy like no other in the Sideswipe community, the never-ending rival between the controller versus touch players. With the official release date being almost a year after the alpha trailer, Sideswipe had gathered the attention of some of the biggest Rocket League creators including Musty, Sunless and Striped. This would bring many of the already existing Rocket League players over to Sideswipe to try it out. A week after the game's release, Epic Games announces the $100,000 Sideswipe Championship. And with that, the race to the top begins. But before it was about the championship, it was about the #1 spot on the leaderboard, who would be the first to power their way through and reach Grand Champion.
My name's Slow-Mo, and I was the first player to hit Grand Champ in 1v1. It was crazy to get Grand Champ at the start with how competitive everybody was, without really anybody knowing what was going to happen in Sideswipe, because we were all figuring it out together. So I just started streaming the game, seeing what I could do, and I felt like I was good enough, so I just started pushing myself as much as I can, putting in all those hours super early on. I hit Grand Champ one night, probably like 4 days after the initial like blow up. It was pretty quick. Like you had to be there and then instantly be on the grind. So when Epic announced they were putting $100,000 into Sideswipe competitions, that was whenever the game really started to take form and pop off. $50,000 NA, $50,000 EU. And after they announced that, it was just trying to figure out how to actually prepare for a tournament for a game that nobody even knows the strategy for, because everybody's still just trying to just find their own play styles without even knowing the true skill ceiling of this game. It was a crazy time to be playing Sideswipe.
After announcing the $100,000 championship for Sideswipe, Epic just handed out this money and then disappeared out of the scene, leaving the organization of the next 9 weeks worth of tournaments in the hands of Rival Esports and Rocket Baguette, two smaller esports orgs who have never handled anything to this extreme. Although they did a great job with the resources they were given, it would have been a much bigger success if Rocket League would have helped promote and set up these tournaments to make it into a bigger event. Because of this, Rocket League Sideswipe never got the opportunity to give us that legendary feeling as if we were watching the RLCS. With all that being said, there's one speculation left about why Epic Games quit Sideswipe Esports.
We have a statement now from the CEO of Epic. Doesn't sound too happy. Julia Borson has the story. Julia?
The long-lasting Epic Games versus Apple lawsuit. This had long-lasting effects on both Fortnite Mobile and Rocket League Sideswipe. With Epic Games wanting in-app purchases like credits in Rocket League or V-Bucks in Fortnite, Apple and Epic couldn't come to an agreement about how this would work. This would result in Epic not being able to make money off of Rocket League Sideswipe, which gave them no incentive to keep throwing money at the game. With all this going on, there was one YouTuber who never gave up. Let's hear about what he has to say about Epic not giving Sideswipe the attention it deserves.
I mean, at the start, it was great when it transferred from the hype of Rocket League at the time to now a new Rocket League, basically Rocket League 2 if you want to call it that. We had a bunch of Rocket League content creators come over to Sideswipe and promote the game, which boosted the numbers crazy. At one point, the videos for Sideswipe were doing better than regular Rocket League videos. It got attention at the start, but the moment that there was no way for them to make money, they were doomed. I always wanted them to have microtransactions. There was always backlash from the community on that, but if you can't pay your team, if you can't make money off of the product, then they're obviously not going to care about it. And now that it's through the Epic Games launcher, it makes it even harder to play Sideswipe these days. The only case scenario that I could see this working out for Sideswipe is if they're able to monetize it through this new platform, but they have yet to do so. So there was one point in time where I had a contact at Epic. I won't name any names, but I wanted to organize an actual tournament with Psyonix or Epic. And it got so close to being organized, and then I don't know what happened, but they said, we're just not interested. And that was right around the time that the game started to go down. It peaked so fast and then deteriorated just as quickly.
Baby Yoda was not the only creator to feel this way. Sideswipe caught the eye of so many established creators in the Rocket League community, lighting a spark for new content ideas, something that hasn't been seen in years. The only thing missing was compatibility with more platforms so that all these creators could make content properly. With Sideswipe already having a capped out frame rate to work with mobile devices, and because it's a two-dimensional game that doesn't take much hardware to run, there was definitely room to turn Sideswipe into a cross-platform game. In the end, with there being no spectator mode or incentive for creators to keep playing the game, they would fall back to their original content. This would bring us to February 2nd, 2022. The release of Sideswipe Season 2 brought us a brand new volleyball game mode, as well as a casual playlist that the community was asking for. Not only that, they kept the game completely free to play with the all new Rocket Pass and cosmetics to earn. This brought a flood of new players to the game and people started to enjoy themselves. It looked like Sideswipe was back. There was just one problem. The final weeks of the Invitational were coming up, and after that, the competitive scene had nothing to look forward to. So with that being said, let's go talk to one of the best Sideswipe players in the world and see where his head is at for the future of Sideswipe.
Hello, my name is Skittles. I played Rocket League Sideswipe back in November of 2021. During the initial release of the game, I probably played for maybe a year and a half. Rocket League Sideswipe is a beautiful game. It has great graphics, beautiful physics. They basically turned Rocket League, the computer game, into an arcade game on mobile. So Psyonix actually developed several game modes as the seasons progressed. They added volleyball in Season 2, 3v3 in Season 3. They even added a casual playlist for more casual players alongside volleyball back in Season 2. The problem stemmed from the fact that they quit funding the esports portion of the game, which ruined the community. Even the people who didn't compete in those esports wanted to play alongside those that did, or compete against those that did, you know? When the big streamers and players like Amir, Slowmoo, Aslan, or Baby Yoda quit, a lot of players quit because they played as a part of their communities.
Looking back at our 3 interviews, it's starting to sound like the community has higher hopes for Sideswipe than the creators themselves. Well, that was until August 22nd, 2024. This would be when Rocket League announces the brand new Champions Road tournaments. This series would consist of a mashup between 4 different tournaments, including Rocket League Rumble, 2v2 and 1v1 tournament with a global prize pool of over $435,000. But it wouldn't end there. Shortly after, they added the Rocket League Sideswipe $10,000 Champions Road 1v1 tournament. So what does this mean for the Sideswipe community? Well, for the first time, they paired a RLCS event with Sideswipe, giving it bigger exposure. The fact that it's been 3 years with almost no words, and now out of nowhere they just announced this big tournament, gives the possibility for future, even bigger events. Not only that, this could mean that they haven't given up on the game, and are planning on putting in the support that Sideswipe needs. If we look back on it, the main 3 points that Slowmoo, Baby Yoda, and Skittles came up with were, first off, there needs to be a competitive scene. Whether the prize pool is huge or not, there's gotta be something for players to compete for. Doing this will not only affect the pro players, but also bring back the casual community who wanna see this kind of thing. The second main point they made is Rocket League Sideswipe needs its microtransactions. Whether this is credits like from Rocket League or something brand new, there's gotta be something there to generate the revenue they need to keep both their team and the competitive scene going. Lastly, the game needs to be cross-platform. Since the game already has controller compatibility, they might as well add it to all these consoles that are out there. Simply throwing it on there, since most of the pro players already play on an emulator, won't make much of a difference. Whether they add a keyboard aspect or not, isn't a big deal at the end of the day. The potential is there, they just need to take it. And I guess at the end of the day, if I'm wrong, Rocket League Sideswipe is truly the greatest innovation and the biggest downfall of Rocket League. I really hope you guys enjoyed this one. Leave any videos in the comments below. I will be responding to every comment. And with that being said, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.